Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Resurgent number 1 pick viewed as model for Steelers, Russell Wilson extension. What a difference a few weeks can make. After a dominant Pittsburgh Steelers victory over the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 6, many were calling for Justin Fields to continue on as the starting quarterback. Now, on November 13th, reporters are beginning to discuss the idea of a Russell Wilson extension following his impressive 3-0 streak as QB1. I think as long as Russell Wilson continues to play at this level, I think they're gonna do business with Wilson after the season ends, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette beat reporter Ray Fittipaldo told 97.1 The Fans Rothman and Ice radio show on Wednesday of Week 11. He added that the Steelers would probably do a 2- or 3-year deal with Wilson if the 2024 campaign plays out in this fashion. Fittipaldo followed up on that point with an interesting QB comparison that he could see Wilson's potential contract negotiations mirroring. I guess the model is probably like the Baker Mayfield contract, the beat writer said. 3 years, $100 million, $40 million, guaranteed. I think that would take Russ right up until about age 39 or 40. Although their career paths have been very different in a number of ways, Wilson and Mayfield are similar in that they were both basically written off as NFL starters in recent years. The former had this happen after winning 104 regular season games and a Super Bowl in Seattle, while the latter was a former number 1 overall pick that had shown flashes of viability. And yet, after each was humbled by their own stretch of adversity, Mayfield is now the unquestioned starter of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Wilson has become the same in Pittsburgh. It's a solid comparison as far as QB extensions go. It's not a knock on Fields, but Wilson has brought something to the QB position that this Steelers offense had been missing for several years. I thought when Justin Fields was in there, he did a really good job, limited the turnovers, and just put them in position to have the defense win the game almost every single week. But it was more of a conservative feel to the offense, Fittipaldo noted with Rothman and Ice. Now that Russell Wilson's in there, I feel like it's opened up a bit. They've given Russell the freedom at the line of scrimmage to check into more passing plays down the field. That's produced several deep conversions to pass catchers like George Pickens, Pat Freiermuth and newcomer Mike Williams. Some have even gone for touchdowns. Wilson was able to hit the big plays at the right time against the Washington Commanders, the beat reporter went on. I think that's what you get when you have a veteran quarterback. Fittipaldo stressed that he doesn't fault Fields for being a step behind Wilson. After all, the latter has started games in this league since 2012. I think you're just seeing the evolution of the offense under a guy who's been a pro quarterback for a long time and understands the game, he concluded. Slowly but surely, the NFL world has begun to come around on Wilson and it's hard to argue with that, considering his results. To me, the biggest move, and the one that paid off the most is making the quarterback switch when you got a winning record, ex-NFL 2-time champion Chris Long said on his Green Light podcast on November 12, eventually voicing that he does not think the Steelers take down the Commanders with Fields at quarterback. Long even admitted that he was a Fields supporter earlier this season, and he wasn't alone. All of a sudden, they have a team that can eat a deficit up, he explained, and they can do it taking shots downfield, and they're confident. That's the veteran presence you need in a situation like that. It's not all about, hey, Justin Fields isn't the guy, Long added. A lot of it is, Russell Wilson is the guy. And so, everything that you've done the last month of the season manifested in beating a tough team and all of a sudden, you're up near the top of the AFC. In other words, Wilson's experience and ability has taken this offense to new heights. If there was a clear ceiling with Fields, we've yet to witness the same under Wilson. Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Patrick Queen claims the Baltimore Ravens made it obvious they were not interested in re-signing him. Patrick Queen spent a lot of time last spring waiting for the Baltimore Ravens to offer him a contract before he hit free agency, but that offer never came. It hurt him more than he expected. "I wasn't wanted back," Queen said bluntly on Wednesday, 8 months after leaving Baltimore for a fresh start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. "I didn't get an offer back. But it's definitely kind of upsetting." It wasn't until the summer, as he began settling into Pittsburgh and building connections with his new teammates, that Queen began to accept what had happened. However, he admitted that this Sunday's game against the Ravens would bring up some emotions, as it's a matchup with his former team, and first place in the AFC North is on the line. "I will have feelings, obviously anybody in my position would this week," Queen said. But despite any lingering feelings, Queen is focused on doing his job. The Steelers made a big investment in Queen during free agency, hoping he would help solidify the inside linebacker position, which has been an issue for Pittsburgh since Ryan Shazier's career-ending injury in 2017. The 25-year-old Queen started slow in Pittsburgh but has recently found his rhythm, becoming a key player for one of the NFL's best defenses. While Queen has yet to record a sack, he has 4 tackles for loss, deflected 3 passes, and has been an active presence against the run. That's important as the Ravens, led by Lamar Jackson, come into the game with the top-ranked offense in the league. Even though Jackson and his former Ravens teammates congratulated Queen when he signed with Pittsburgh, calling it a great move for him financially, Queen has temporarily stopped talking to his old teammates, including linebacker Roquan Smith. Queen and Smith formed one of the top linebacker duos in the league, but Queen wanted to show that his success was not just because of Smith's presence. While Queen didn't directly say he would have stayed in Baltimore if the Ravens had made him an offer, it's clear that the relationships he built with his former team mean a lot to him, and it was tough to leave. "I definitely did feel a certain type of way, the whole situation," Queen said. He also mentioned that he hasn't spoken to Ravens coach John Harbaugh since leaving. "But I'm over it now." Queen has moved on, and the Steelers are having their best start since 2020. Now, Queen is ready to embrace his role as the villain in one of the NFL's most intense rivalries, as Pittsburgh takes on Baltimore. One of the things Queen is most excited about is the chance to hit Jackson, something he couldn't do when he was with the Ravens. The best he could do in practice was touch Jackson once in a while, but it was rare. "We all know the type of athlete he is, how fast he is, how dynamic he is," Queen said. Lamar Jackson, "I don't know why we've struggled against Steelers." When looking at Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson's history against the Steelers, 2 things immediately jump out. One is that he's missed more games against Pittsburgh since becoming the starter than he's actually played, and the other is that the 2-time MVP has not been successful in the 4 starts he's made over the last 5 seasons. The Ravens are 1-3 against the Steelers with Jackson in the lineup, and he's turned the ball over 10 times in those games. 7 of those turnovers were interceptions, and the Steelers are the only team against which he has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. On Wednesday, Jackson said that he cannot explain why the Steelers have been such a tough nut for him to crack. "I don't know," Jackson said, via a transcript from the team. "It's a different team, right now. Different guys last year, it's a different unit this year, but it's always the same goal: we want to win. We want to be the ones that come out victorious, and that's going to be the goal going into this game." Jackson has been on a tear this season with 24 touchdowns and 2 interceptions while leading the league in yards per pass attempt, but the Steelers have come up with the right formula for him in the past, and Jackson's ability to counter that this weekend will play a significant role in the outcome of the game. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Lamar Jackson? Leave your opinion in the comments.